Welcome to Brooker Bonsai, and this week we're going to be repotting this mystery seedling in this handmade cement moon pot that I've made. I'll be needing some sphagnum moss for this because we'll be creating some muck to build the walls. So here's the tree from all angles. So from the front you can see we've got this nice S-curve shape that's starting to form. I still need to kind of pick out the front for this, but we'll decide a final front when we repot it. And coming around to the side and now to the back and back round to the front. So first things first, we need to take the tree out of the pot, and I don't usually wire my trees into the pot, but I can see that this one has been wired, and this really tells me how long this tree has been in the pot before I've repotted it. It's probably coming up to 3 years now. So I cut away some of the roots that have grown through the drainage stream and begin to trim away the wire. I've still noticed that as I pull it out of the pot, it's still wedged in there pretty tight. So I'm going to just pull away and break up the soil and see if I can figure out what's happening. And this is just a prime example really of why I don't like to wire my trees into the pot, because as the roots grow through the drainage holes, they can then fuse the wire to the roots, creating scarring, but also fixing the tree in the pot. And this can damage the roots as you want to remove it. So if the tree wasn't wired in, I could just give it a nice tug and it would probably come out as one big piece. So once I've removed the muck walls from the edges, I can come in and begin to break up the soil a little bit more and see if I can loosen the wires in the pot. I'm just working around the edges with my tweezers to try and loosen things up. Finally, I just decided to tip out all the soil. This just wasn't working. Whatever is happening in the roots here, it's got it wedged in there nice and secure. You'll notice for this planting that I don't use akadama soil at all. With it being a small planting, moisture levels are really hard to maintain in a pot like this without kind of nestling it in a larger pot for those roots to escape into. So organic soil works quite well. It dries out over the summer and I can keep it hydrated. I finally found where the roots are wrapped around the wire here, so I've just severed it and hopefully it'll come out now in one piece. There it is, managed to finally free it out from the pot. So you can see there that the drainage screen is completely chocker full and the wire is wedged in there nice and tight too. So I'll set that aside and just clear out that hole later. So here's a view of the roots now. There's not as many as I thought, considering the tree's been in the pot for about 3 or 4 years. They're nice and fibrous, which is good. And I definitely think with how dry the soil was, the tree was being underwatered. So I've made a note of that to make sure that I'm watering it quite a bit. I've noticed there's this like bulge area around the roots that you can see there just above the root that I pinched. And then there's an undercut, and that's when the root base begins. So this year I'm going to plant the tree slightly higher, but ensuring that the bottom of that root base, that bulge, is within the soil. And hopefully, as the tree has a bit more moisture within that soil area, we'll get some roots slightly higher up at that level, and then we can remove it over time to create a nice wide nabari. Now I'm just trimming back the roots, getting rid of those roots that are sticking up, and trimming it all back so they're all roughly the same length. And this will help me balance the vigour of the roots so that one root doesn't take off and get bigger than the others. Next I'm on to creating the muck, and for this I've got a very kind of peat heavy soil mix that I'll then begin to mix in some sphagnum moss. When you mix in the sphagnum moss like this, it binds with the soil and the moss grows then in the soil, and it's almost like rebar in cement. The moss acts as those kind of metal bars, and the muck acts like cement, and it all holds itself together quite nicely. So once the thing dries out properly, it goes hard, and this then creates a really tough wall that will hold all the soil in. So once I've added the moss, I'll come in with some water and just mix it all together to make that kind of tacky peat kind of muck material. You want it so that when I squeeze, that it sticks together like that and it doesn't crumble. And that's an indication that the muck is ready to be used. Here's an angle now of some of the walls that I've built with the muck base, and you can see I'm just adding a little bit more muck to the front here. And this allows me to create a bigger surface area within the pot, and it gives the tree more space to grow those roots into. And by adding this extra height to the walls, I've actually doubled the size of the pot. Here's the potting mix. This is just used soil. It's got a mixture of perlite, a little bit of compost, organic material, sand, and then also all the fines when I'm sieving my akadama soil I store in here. And it acts really well as like a potting mix. I use it for the tree here, but also for indoor succulents and cactuses. They really like this soil because it's got lots of nutrients, but with it being very crumbly, it dries out very quickly as well, so the soil doesn't stay damp. Next, I'm just finding the right position for the tree, making sure that it's got the right planting angle and height. I want the tree so that it's the bulge kind of leans out at the bottom of the tree, and this will make the base of the tree look much wider and much more mature, which you'll see in a minute when I show you the front. So once I've got the tree roughly planted, I just now need to build that front layer of muck just to hold everything in place. So you can see here I'm just pressing it down, creating a nice thin wall that will hold all that soil in place. Even though I'm not using akadama, it's still really important to get the soil down into that fibrous root base. So using some chopsticks, I'm just teasing the soil down, and that will help hold the tree more sturdily in the pot as well. Finally, just putting that top layer dressing so that the roots remain covered and won't dry out. I often, when I plant the tree, I put the soil layer a little bit higher, and then over the course of the next 12 months, I'll just scrape back that surface layer of soil, revealing the trunk flare. So here's the final view of the tree in 360 degrees. You can see with it being a round pot, there isn't really a front, so it can be viewed from all angles, but I think somewhere around here is probably the front. As I'm not using wire, definitely learned my lesson from the start of this video. I'm going to tie the tree down with some raffia, and this will help keep the tree and all the soil in place. And then once the roots establish, I can remove the raffia at the end of the growing season, and everything should be held nice and safely in place. So if you've made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I really enjoy reading all your guys' views and any feedback that you might have on the trees or my videos, and look forward to seeing you in the next one.